Hello trail travelers, it's Kerry, and today we have a new box with a new product in it. Well, it's not a new product, it's new to us. This is a new winch. As you know, we've been running the fiery red 13,000 on the Jeep for a year and a half. It's got well over 100 pulls on it. It has held up extremely well until it didn't. And fortunately, we were on a recovery and we made it through the recovery, and that's when it actually failed. So it didn't leave us stranded. It didn't cause any major problems during the recovery. But now the clutch is fried in it and it just doesn't work right. So it was time to replace the winch with something new. And we did a lot of research. We had, in our minds decided that we're going to have to spend some money, and probably some good money, on a new winch. But we started asking around. We asked friends for their experiences with the winches they had. We looked online, we did a bunch of research, and I went and looked at what are the bigger guys doing, the guys who most people consider pros in the business. People like Casey Liddell, like Rory Irish with Trailmater, like Matt's Off-Road Recovery. What are these guys using? And I'll tell you what they're not using. They're not using Warn. And it's not that Warn isn't a great product, because they make a fantastic product. But there's things about the product that, could definitely be improved. And the price is astronomical. I mean, for a Warn Xeon 12,000, you're paying $1,600. For the Platinum, you're paying $2,500. They're expensive winches. Well, what if you could get Warn Xeon quality for half the price? Well, that's what we decided to go with, because that's what we see a lot of guys out on the trails using. We see them on YouTube with people like Muddy Beards, like Dirt Lifestyle. You could go on and name a lot of people who are running this winch. Well, let's get to it. What is it? That's right. It is the Harbor Freight Badland Apex winch. Now, we went with the 12,000 pound because we do a lot of recoveries, not just self-recovery and our friends, but we volunteer with Colorado Recovery. And so we need something that is robust, that is going to be reliable, and that is going to work all the time. Now, I'm going to be upfront with you about how we acquired this. I paid for it. I don't know anybody at Harbor Freight. We've never talked to anybody at Harbor Freight. They did not send us this winch. I went to my store here in Greeley and picked it up today and paid full price for it. So this is not a sponsored video. Everything that I ever have to say about this is my own opinion and has nothing to do with anything to do with Harbor Freight. So why did we choose this winch? Well, it is IP68 rated. That means it is dust-proof and waterproof. It is IP69K rated, which means it can take a water stream of up to 1,450 PSI. That means you can safely pressure wash the whole thing. You cannot say that about all the winches that are out there. It has a 3/8 inch by 80 foot synthetic line. Now, for most people, that's going to be absolutely fine. That's going to do the job. It's going to do exactly what you need this winch to do, and most people are going to have no issues with this line. And typically, I would not have an issue with this line, but we are going to replace this line when we put it on the Jeep, and I will talk about that more later on in the video. This has a wireless remote. The Warn Xeon 12S does not come with a wireless remote, and to me that's a kind of a big fail. If you want wireless capability on the Warn 12S, you have to buy an additional $80 cable that plugs into it, just like you would plug in a regular remote, and then you can use your phone. And as we found out on a trail, it requires you to log in when you're out on a trail, which is not always possible. We've eventually figured out if you put your phone in airplane mode, you can get around that. But still, stupid for a winch app to even suggest that you log in first. This also has a line speed of 31.5 feet per minute, making it a fairly quick winch, which the Fiery Red was not. That thing was painfully slow. So those are the reasons why we went with this, and the cost. Now, out the door with 2-year extended warranty, which is basically take it into any Harbor Freight and they'll replace it, you're looking at right around $800 versus $1,700 for the Warn winch, which honestly looks identical to this. The casing is identical, everything about this, the specs are basically identical. You would swear they were made in the same factory. I don't know that, I'm just saying they look damn near identical. So we're gonna go and unbox this thing, check out what's all inside, make sure we have all the parts laid out, and then get to the install. So let's get unpacking. Okay, the first thing is going to be to make sure we have everything. We've got some nice good gauge battery cables, a negative cable, our instructions, the Badlands Guide to Winching. This is the wire for the remote control. So even though it is a wireless remote, it does come with a wire as a backup. So if the battery goes dead, you can still use that. It has 2 rope protectors. So these just roll over the winch line. So if it's going to go over any rocks or gravel or trees or anything that could put any abrasion on the rope, you want to use these so that the rope slides through there and doesn't get beat up on the trail. And it does come with 2 of these, and they're good size, so I like that. Has a nice beefy fair lead, a plate so you can relocate the electronics if you wanted to. I'm not going to, so not going to worry about that. And this little dummy plate goes in place there if you're going to relocate the stuff. Has an attached power cord to go to the battery, a cutoff switch. That's nice that it's included. Now, I'm not going to use this. I used to keep one of these under the hood on the winch, kind of to keep anyone from messing with the winch, but you have to have the remote, so I'm not too worried about it. Sure, someone could switch it over to free spool and pull the line out, but I don't worry about it. I'm not going to be concerned about it. You've got the wireless remote, just in and out, and mode. You just hold it for 3 seconds to go into wireless mode. You have their claw to go on the end of the rope. This is beefy. I will give it that. This thing is seriously beefy. Very nice spring on there to keep everything latched in place. Not going to use it. Again, we're going to talk about that later. There's 1 bag of hardware for electronic connections and 1 bag of hardware for the winch mount itself and a rope strap so you can grab the rope easily and keep your hands out of here. Now, on the winch itself, it does come with 80 feet of 3/8 inch synthetic rope. For most people, that's going to be absolutely fine. I would prefer longer, 90 or 100 feet, but it does come with 80 feet. But yet again, we're going to take this rope off and do something different. But we're not going to get to that until we do the install. On this side, you have a flip-up cover. It's got a port for the wire to plug into and an on-off switch for the wireless. So that's going to be it. We're going to double check a few things. There's a wire on the back here that has to go onto a terminal along with the negative wire. But first we have to get the old winch off. So fortunately it's 4 bolts and 2 wires. And we'll get the old winch off and we'll get the new winch on. Okay, we have the Apex winch installed on the bumper. And I wasn't going to do an installation video because, to be honest, installing a winch is probably one of the easiest things that you can actually do. There's 4 bolts that go into the winch plate, and there's 2 wires, 1 for negative, 1 for positive. Now, I just ran those the negative right to the battery, or the positive, I'm sorry, I ran the positive to the battery and the negative to a good ground point. That's it. I'm done. There's nothing else to do. If you want to add the cutoff switch that's included, you can do that. Find a place to mount the switch. But right now, the winch is operational. And on the end, we have the nice big end that they provide and the big clamp. If that's all you want, you're good. Now, of course, you need other recovery gear. You need kinetic ropes. You need tree savers, shackles, and other accessories. This by itself is not a complete recovery system, but all you'd have to do is pull the cotter pin, pull the pin, put it in here, boom, and you have the clamp on here. However, from several years of doing recoveries, I'm trying to shy away from big, heavy metal things. It's just, it's dangerous. And things happen, things go wrong, and accidents happen. And also, when you're trying to throw a line to somebody, throwing them a multi-pound chunk of steel, it may not go where you intend it to go. So, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to use the Bleeping Jeep Freedom Winch Line 3.0. This is a 90-foot line, so it's actually 10 feet longer than the one that's on the winch. On the winch end, it has a couple feet of red shroud on here, so when you start seeing red come out, you need to stop so that it doesn't pull the line off the winch. But the other end, where we would normally connect our giant clamp, is this. Now, what we really have on the end of the line here is a ball, or a big knot, actually. And if I can get the freedom hook or freedom loop off of it, that's the end of the line. That's about as safe as it gets. Now, it comes with this extra loop. I think they call this the freedom hoop or freedom loop. And you want to attach to something, pop this on there, run this through it, and got to loosen it up a little bit. Pop it on there, and now you are connected. No heavy metal, no problems. Big, safety factor there. Now this has a mean tensile strength of 15,000 pounds, and we have a 12,000 pound winch, so we're in the margin there. Big covering around this end to protect it. A big slipping, shroud around here that you can move around to take care of any rocks or anything that you have. Now let's say this isn't big enough and you need to go around something a little bit bigger. Well, you can move down into the line. Actually, I'll show you down a little further. And there's 3 spots where the line opens. Pop through there. We're now connected. We can do that around a small tree or something. And then a little further down, there's another one. And I think they're at 3, 6, and 12 feet, something like that. So there's 3 different spots on the line where you can just put the knot through and you've got a fast connection. When it comes to some recoveries, speed is everything. Someone is in the water or they've rolled and you have to act very quickly. Being able to set something up extremely quickly with this, that's huge. The fact we don't have any metal in this is huge. We don't have any big weight in it. That to me is huge. So when it comes to the safety of working with winches and recoveries, I'm pretty sold on the Freedom Winch Line 3.0. Matt's Off-Road Recovery, he's been using an original version for several years. If you see him using a winch, he's using a Freedom Winch Line. Just, again, purely from a safety point of view. So what we need to do is unspool the line that's on the winch, connect this one, and spool it back up. Okay, we've got the Freedom winch line buttoned up here. Pretty easy. There was just an Allen wrench on a kind of a spool thing. Take that off, put the new rope on, spool it back up, and we're ready to go. Well, I mean, technically we're not ready to go. I only put this on by hand. We need to get out in the field somewhere where we can put this under load and reel it back in. But for now, we're all set. It's time to go hit a trail. Well, if you're going to test a winch, what better way than to actually winch somebody? It's time to get somebody stuck. Now the plan here is to send Nick into the snowbank and get stuck. And looks like he might be. So, might be wait. Okay, well this isn't going well. This snow is like 3 feet deep. He should not be driving through this. Well, okay. Well, plan A is not working. We're probably going to have to go up the hill and find another snowbank to see if we can get stuck in, because Nick drove right through this. Well, things didn't go according to plan. Nick was supposed to get stuck. He went through. I tried to go through. I'm a little heavier. I was the one that broke through the snow. So we are going to do some winching, but I'm going to have to winch to Nick's vehicle to get through this snowbank. Let's give it a shot. Wasn't the best throw. Now, fortunately, I'm not super stuck here. Just really, it's my driver's side rear tire dropped through the snow into a hole, and I just need a simple pull to get up and going and get back on the super hard packed snow and get going again. Since this snow is not cooperating with us, we're going to go find another location and see if we can get a good winch pull on this thing and see how well things work. We've got the Freedom Winch Line 3.0 connected to our Badlands Apex 12,000 here. As you can see, we've got most of the line out. We're right to the red. We'll get it tightened up. We'll get some winching done. Okay, we've got the Jeep in neutral, and we're going to start winching. Up we go. So, you know, we're running about 6,000 pounds on the Jeep, going uphill. We got our tires aired down to about 13 PSI. So this is putting a nice good load on everything, but it's pulling us right up the hill. May not be quick, but we're gonna get through it. Now keep in mind, for every layer of rope on the drum, you lose about 10% of your pulling strength. So at this point, with it almost done, you know, we don't have, you know, maybe 50% of our rated capacity of 12,000 pounds. And it's still pulling us up. It's doing the job. We could have done a double pull at this point to maximize it, get more line out, and use a pulley system to get mechanical advantage, but we don't really need to. We're making it up this hill, not a problem. We're up the hill. The Apex winch did perfect. Nice, easy, slow pulls, very consistent, no problems whatsoever. I'm very happy with this winch. I think going with this was definitely the right choice. So if you're in the market for a winch, I mean, I'm going to recommend the Badlands Apex from Harbor Freight of all places. Not recommending Warren or one of the more expensive brands. That guy right there may just do the trick for you. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been Kerry with Trail Traveler. Be safe out there. We'll see you on the trails.